Moonlit Tales Asia presents stories from the past where love, fate, and darkness intertwine. Long ago, in a small and quiet fishing village nestled along the coast of ancient Japan, there lived a young man named Urashima Taro. The village was humble. With rows of wooden houses lining the shore, their roofs worn by salt and wind fishermen rose before dawn, their lives bound to the rhythm of the tides. The sea was both their provider and their master, beautiful yet unpredictable. Among them all, Taro was known not for strength nor skill, but for his kindness. He had gentle eyes, the kind that seemed to listen even when no words were spoken, while others hurried to gather their catch. Taro often paused, watching the waves, helping the elderly, or rescuing small creatures left behind by the tide. To him, the world was not something to conquer, but something to care for. One afternoon, as the sun rested low in the sky and painted the sea in gold, Taro walked along the shoreline after finishing his work. The tide had receded, leaving behind pools of water that shimmered like fragments of the sky. Then he heard laughter, sharp, careless, and cruel. A group of children had gathered near the rocks. Their voices filled with mischief. At the center of their circle lay a small turtle. Its shell was covered in sand, its flippers weak as it struggled to move. The children poked it with sticks, flipping it over and laughing as it tried to escape. Taro stepped forward at once and told them to stop. His voice was calm, yet firm. The children hesitated before slowly backing away, and running off, Taro knelt beside the turtle and gently lifted it into his hands. It trembled slightly, but did not resist. He carried it toward the sea, stepping into the cool water until the waves touched his legs. He lowered it gently and told it that it was safe now. For a brief moment, the turtle lingered as if looking back at him. Then it slipped beneath the surface and disappeared. Taro smiled softly and thought nothing more of it. Next morning, the sea was unusually calm. Taro pushed his small boat into the water and began his daily fishing. The sky stretched wide and clear above him. Hours passed in silence. Then suddenly, the water stirred. A shadow moved beneath the surface, growing larger as it approached. A great turtle rose beside his boat, its shell gleaming in the sunlight. Taro was startled and nearly dropped his net. The turtle looked at him with deep, knowing eyes. Then it spoke his name. Taro froze, unable to believe what he was hearing. The turtle told him not to be afraid. It said it had come to thank him. It revealed that it was the same turtle he had saved, but not an ordinary one. It was a servant of the dragon palace beneath the sea. The princess of the sea had heard of his kindness and wished to meet him. The turtle invited him to visit the palace as an honored guest. Taro hesitated as he looked out over the vast ocean, yet something within him urged him to accept. Slowly he agreed. The turtle told him to climb on too. Its back Taro did so carefully, holding tight. Without warning, the turtle dove into the sea. The world above vanished instantly. Water rushed around him, yet he found that he could breathe, as if the sea itself allowed it. They descended deeper and deeper. The sunlight faded into blue, and then into darkness filled with glowing creatures. Fish shimmered like living jewels, and coral rose like underwater forests. It was a world untouched by time. At last, a magnificent palace appeared in the distance. It shone with colors beyond imagination, walls of coral and jade gates of gold, and rooftops glowing like moonlight. Taro could hardly believe his eyes. The turtle carried him to the entrance, and he stepped inside. The palace was even more beautiful within. Soft music drifted through the halls, and everything sparkled as if in a dream. Servants moved gracefully, dressed in flowing garments. Then the princess appeared. She moved with quiet elegance, her presence calm and radiant. Her eyes held the depth of the ocean. Welcomed Taro warmly and thanked him for his kindness. Taro bowed deeply, feeling both amazed and humbled. He told her that he had only done what anyone should, but the princess smiled and said, "Not everyone would." Taro remained in the palace as a guest. Days passed like a dream. There were feasts, music, and dances that filled his heart with joy. Each part of the palace held a different wonder, one filled with blossoms, another with falling leaves, another with gentle snow. Time seemed to lose all meaning, did not move forward, but simply existed. Taro laughed more than ever before. He forgot his worries and slowly forgot the world above. But one quiet moment, As he stood alone watching the currents, a memory returned. He thought of his village. He remembered the scent of the sea, the sound of boats, and the faces of those he loved. A quiet longing grew in his heart. He told the princess that he wished to return home. Her expression softened with sadness. Though she understood, she agreed to let him go. Before he left, she gave him a small, beautiful box. It was carefully wrapped and tied with a delicate cord. She told him it was a gift, but warned him never to open it. Her voice was gentle yet serious. She asked him to promise. Taro gave his word. The turtle returned him to the surface. When he stepped onto the shore, something felt wrong. The sea was the same, but everything else had changed. The village he knew was gone. New buildings stood in its place, and unfamiliar people walked about. Confused, Taro asked an old man about the village. The man told him the name was the same. But when Taro asked about himself, the man grew puzzled. He said that name belonged to an old legend of fishermen who had vanished into the sea long ago. Hundreds of years had passed. Taro felt his heart sink. Everything he knew was gone. His past had disappeared. He stood alone in a world that no longer knew him. His hands trembled as he looked at the box. It was the only thing he had left. He remembered his promise, but the pain of loss was too great. He wanted to return to what he had lost. Slowly he untied the cord. He opened the box. A white mist poured out and surrounded him. It wrapped around his body like a silent wind. He felt time rushing through him. His hair turned white. His body aged in. Moments, years returned all at once. The time he had escaped came back to claim him. In an instant, the young man was gone. An old man stood in his place, bent and fragile. Then even he faded away. Some say the sea holds more than waves and creatures. Some say it holds time itself. And somewhere beneath the ocean, the Dragon Palace still remains untouched and eternal, waiting in silence. This story is retold and adapted by Moonlit Tales Asia. Inspired by traditional folklore, please do not copy, re-upload, or redistribute this content in any form without permission.